All right, so now we're going to do the elbow projections. These are all also going to be tabletop. I'm going to start with the lateral elbow just because I have my patient in position for that right now. I want to have them facing towards me in the chair so that they can easily get that 90-degree elbow to our humerus to forearm position. And I'm going to have you just come towards me about 3 or 4 inches. Thank you. So 10 by 12 inch cassette on this picture. And again, this one is incredibly vital that you get your humerus, elbow, and wrist on the same plane. You guys remember in FIA doing the elbow, where if the proximal humerus is elevated or depressed, it's going to have changes in the radial head position, as well as the distal forearm, if it's elevated or depressed, is going to have radial head changes as well. So this one's very important to have on an equal plane. Your centering is going to be at the elbow joint, so I'm going to have my patient come in and right here, and then do you want to scoot out a little bit just so your humerus can drop down a little bit more? Perfect. So at the elbow joint, and then again, sorry, holding your hand here, dropping that down, karate chopped hand position, nice and 90 for the patient position, and then collimating in a little bit for that extra that we don't need. You want 1/4 of the forearm, or 1/3 of the forearm, and 1/3 of the elbow or the humerus there. This is the right side. Your right marker should be legible. And this projection, starting at the elbow, we hang projections from the humerus, or from the shoulder girdle, so you want to put that in a legible writing position. So it's going to hang like this. So I'm going to put my right marker on just like that. And again, it's within the light field, just not in the anatomy of interest. And the humerus, elbow, and wrist are all on the same equal plane. Okay? 40-inch SID. Okay, you can go ahead and relax. We're going to do the AP next. So I'll have my patient turn his chair facing inward. Still for this one, we want to have the humerus, the elbow, and the wrist on the same plane, because if it's not, it's going to start having flexion. That flexion is going to pull the olecranon process out of the olecranon fossa. So now we're doing a lengthwise cassette. So I'm going to change my collimated field to match that and move my cassette down a little bit. So I'm going to, you can pick either side, whatever you're more comfortable with. Perfect. And elbow joint is still a centering point for us. So, yep, perfect. And we just want to leave, this is his elbow joint, that's why I'm centered right there. Again, the hand is supinated for AP position. And then transversely collimate so that you have a 1/2 inch on either side of that soft tissue. Right marker. This is going to hang again from the shoulder girdle. So I'm going to put my right marker legible right there. And that would be my AP elbow. Now the one you guys are going to hope to pull after you do this AP is your AP medial oblique. The only difference here is that hand's going to flip over and it's going to be pronated just facing down. This is going to make your condyles at a 45-degree angle to the IR, still centering at that elbow joint. Your right marker, if you need to shift it a little bit just due to the arm shifting placement a little bit, go ahead and do that, but that's literally the only difference for this projection. The one that is less commonly done, and we're going to show you a different method for it in a minute, but I'll show you it real quick. The standard lateral oblique is rotating a hand again, supinated up for me, and then you're going to rotate, you're going to usually have to lean the patient's body laterally to get the hand up. Okay? Oh, sorry. Right about there. Come right there. So you want that hand to be at a 45 rotating out. I'm going to lift one more time and I'm going to turn just so that this is right on that patient's arm. Come forward just a little bit. Perfect. And again, this position isn't often done because that's going to be very challenging for anybody that's a little bit older positioning wise, but rotating that hand out until the hand is at a 45 degree going the opposite way is how you do that lateral oblique. Okay? Go ahead and relax. Instead of doing that though, what we end up doing is the Coyle method. So that's the last projection for the elbow that you guys have. And the Coyle method does the same thing that the lateral oblique does. The lateral oblique is taken so that you see the radial head free of superimposition from the ulna. So in this position, I'm actually going to have my patient go back to lateral position. And this requires a 45-degree angle towards the patient, and you're still aiming at that elbow joint. And you can leave, your book shows the hand pronated down, but it actually works better if you have the hand in the karate chop position. So if you do that for your proficiency, that's just fine. Otherwise, you can do it per Merrill's with the pronated hand. So I'm going to collimate this back down to that crosswise positioning, and I'm going to lift up. I always center my elbow at the upper third of the cassette now, because everything, like we learned in FA, everything travels at the same angle as your x-rays, or your x-rays projection. So now that I have this 45-degree angle, whatever hits here is going to travel at 45 degrees and end up on the center of my cassette. If I center his elbow back in the middle, that's going to project that elbow farther up on like the last third of the cassette. I want it to end up more centered as opposed to start centered and then be projected off of my image. So lateral position, I'm going to spring you forward a little bit so that nice 90 sitting here. Put my right marker on, and again, if I need to, I'm just going to bring my collimated field so that it will fit right on the side there. And again, this 45-degree angle projects that radial head free of superimposition from the ulna. So that's all we're looking for in this projection. Okay? So 45 degrees towards the patient, entering that elbow joint. Have the hand in that karate chop position, 90-degree elbow, 10 by 12 cassette. Okay?